Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to be looking at two stories that really highlight the complexities of political narratives.
Yeah, narratives and just the information ecosystem as a whole.
Exactly. And,
Yeah.
it can be really difficult to sort of parse through everything and figure out, what's really going on.
Right.
So we'll be examining an allegation against former President Trump
Okay.
and a case involving IRS whistleblowers.
Sounds intriguing.
Yeah, so let's jump right in and start with the Trump story.
Okay, sounds good.
So this involves an anecdote from a new book by a reporter
Okay.
covering Trump's return to power.
Right.
And the book mentions an interaction between Trump and Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna while they were on a flight together.
Okay.
So the anecdote centers on Luna, who was pregnant at the time,
Yeah.
experiencing some discomfort due to preeclampsia.
Right, which is a pregnancy complication with high blood pressure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And according to the book, Trump offered her his bed on the plane,
All right.
making a remark about Melania not liking other women using it.
Okay.
Now, the reporter who wrote the book states that Trump was joking, but a media outlet, the Daily Beast, picked up the story and ran with a headline that some considered misleading, implying impropriety between Trump and Luna.
Okay.
Luna quickly refuted the insinuation, providing further context.
Right.
She explained that Trump was being considerate, offering her a private room on the plane to rest
Okay.
due to her medical condition. And she emphasized that her husband was also present, and they both appreciated Trump's concern.
Got it.
Interestingly, Community Notes, which is a crowdsourced fact-checking tool on certain platforms,
Yeah.
flagged the Daily Beast's article as potentially misleading.
Interesting.
The article also sparked responses from Axios
Okay.
and a White House spokesperson.
Makes sense.
So Axios, where the book's author works, defended the reporting,
Right.
stating that the interaction was accurately portrayed within its context. The White House spokesperson, on the other hand, dismissed the book,
Okay.
categorizing it as just another attempt to capitalize on Trump's name.
So we see different interpretations of the same event
Right.
and how the framing of information can really significantly impact public perception.
Absolutely. It makes you think,
Yeah.
how often does this happen
All the time.
with other stories
Oh.
where, maybe we don't have all the facts?
Exactly. And it's a good reminder to, be critical of what we read and hear
For sure.
and to really try to get the full story.
Yeah. And this also raises some interesting questions about the role of humor
Right.
and how it can be perceived, in politically sensitive situations.
Oh, absolutely. Humor can be so easily misinterpreted, especially in these kinds of contexts.
Yeah, it's all about the nuance,
Exactly. And sometimes that nuance gets lost in translation.
especially, when things are written down.
Yeah. Especially in headlines,
Exactly. Headlines can be very deceiving
They can be.
sometimes
So it's important to read beyond the headline. Always.
and dig a little deeper.
Absolutely. And, even then,
Yeah.
it's still, it's hard to know what to believe sometimes.
It really is.
We have to be really discerning.
We do, and I think that's something we're going to see play out in our next story, too.
Yeah, definitely. I'm interested to hear more about that.
Okay, well, let's dive into the IRS whistleblowers next.
Sounds good.
Okay, so shifting gears a bit, let's delve into this story about the IRS whistleblowers.
All right.
This case centers on Gary Shapley and Joseph Ziegler,
Yeah.
two IRS employees who allege they faced retaliation for their involvement in the Hunter Biden tax evasion investigation.
Okay, so this case has taken a new turn with Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen's recent announcement promoting both Shapley and Ziegler to senior advisory roles within the Treasury Department.
Right.
So what's the rationale behind this move?
Well, Yellen has stated her commitment to investigate the alleged wrongdoing within the IRS
Okay.
and ensure fair treatment for all employees, regardless of their political affiliations. So she's prioritizing transparency and accountability within the agency.
Yeah, exactly. This decision really indicates that she's taking the whistleblower's claims seriously.
Interesting.
Yeah, this action signifies a willingness to address potential issues, even when it involves scrutinizing government agencies,
Right.
which is really crucial for maintaining public trust.
Absolutely. And adding another layer to this story is Congressman Jason Smith,
Okay.
the chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee,
Right.
who publicly expressed his support for Shapley and Ziegler, condemning their alleged mistreatment.
Yeah, his statement kind of brings to light the broader concern of potential political interference in investigations.
It definitely raises questions about that balance between protecting individuals from undue influence and ensuring a fair and impartial justice system.
It's complex.
Yeah, very complex.
It's not a simple issue.
No easy answers.
Not at all.
Definitely raises questions about the mechanisms in place to safeguard against political pressure and ensure whistleblowers are protected when they come forward.
Exactly. This case really shines a light on that delicate balance between individual rights, institutional integrity, and public trust in the fairness and impartiality of our justice system.
So while Yellen's decision to promote Shapley and Ziegler is a step towards addressing the situation, some view it as a way to placate those demanding transparency without genuinely addressing the underlying issues.
That's a valid point. It remains to be seen what concrete actions will be taken to investigate the whistleblowers' claims and prevent similar situations from arising in the future.
It does, and it makes you think about how often this kind of thing might be happening, behind closed doors.
It does make you wonder.
Yeah, and it really brings us back to the crucial role of an informed and engaged citizenry.
Absolutely.
We need to be aware of these situations, ask critical questions, and hold our institutions accountable.
Couldn't agree more. By understanding the complexities of these cases, we contribute to a more informed public discourse.
For sure.
And hopefully a more responsive and accountable system.
Yeah, well said. These two stories, while seemingly distinct, they actually share a common thread.
Yeah, I see that they both really highlight the power dynamics at play when individuals challenge those in positions of authority.
Right, whether it's a former president or a government agency.
Exactly, and they both also underscore the importance of critical thinking in today's information landscape.
Oh, for sure. It's so easy to get swept up in, sensationalized headlines or partisan narratives.
Absolutely. But as informed citizens, we have a responsibility to look beyond the surface, to examine the evidence, and consider different perspectives.
So what can we do to navigate this complex world of information? How can we discern what's credible and what's not?
Well, it starts with recognizing that everyone, including ourselves, has biases. We need to be aware of our own preconceptions and be open to challenging our assumptions.
That's a good point. And it's also crucial to diversify our sources of information, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't just rely on one news outlet or social media platform. Seek out different viewpoints, compare and contrast the reporting, and do your own research.
Exactly. Remember, knowledge is power, but it's how we use that knowledge that truly matters.
That's a good way to put it.
We have a responsibility to ourselves and to our communities to be informed, engaged, and discerning citizens.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm left wondering, how can we move beyond simply consuming information and become active participants in shaping the narrative?
That's the question we should all be asking ourselves, because in a world so saturated with information, our ability to think critically, to engage in thoughtful dialogue, and to hold those in power accountable has never been more important.
Well said. Thanks for joining me for another deep dive. Always a pleasure having you on the show.
It's always great to be here. Thanks for having me.
And to all our listeners out there, keep those critical thinking caps on and stay informed.